Welcome to the channel, guys. We are back again, and I'm doing the final video for my fragrance collection, and these are the niche fragrances, so niche fragrance part 2, so stay tuned for that. And if you like the content, guys, hit that like and subscribe button. I really do appreciate it. So I do actually have a couple of Roja fragrances. I decided to check the house out actually with a blind buy because I'd heard a lot about them, and I wanted to check out this fragrance in particular because it sounded good to me. Now, this was right around the time that the Perfume Cologne line was going to be released, so a lot of the EDP concentrations were discontinued or being discontinued, and I grabbed one when I could, and this is Fetish EDP. I actually really like this one. The only problem with this one is that I do find it to be so luxurious smelling that I wouldn't wear it that often. This is much more of a special occasion fragrance. That's not a bad thing, especially because it will last a long time. It is an expensive fragrance, but it will last a long time. Performs absolutely amazing. I guess the quick way that I describe this one is, this is to me what people kind of tell you that T-Rex is supposed to smell like. I didn't find T-Rex by Zoologist to be that beastly, that crazy, that hard to wear. I actually found it quite wearable. But this one, especially in that opening, is very spicy, very fiery, very in your face. And it's really, really well done. I do like this one. Colder weather, luxurious, special occasion fragrance. I do want to do a review on this one because I haven't yet. But I will definitely get around to that, probably more towards the fall, as this is a cold weather fragrance. I do actually have another fragrance from Roja, and that is Creation E. My only actual complaint with this, I wish it had the Enigma name. If you didn't know, Enigma and Creation E are the exact same fragrance. It's just that Enigma was copyrighted in North America, so instead it has Creation E. This is a really great fragrance. I have done a comparison of this one with the Parfum. For me personally, I think that this one is just so much better value for what you're paying for, and they are very, very similar. But at the end of the day, Creation E is one of these fragrances that I think is a really, really good masculine fragrance. If you like something with tobacco, you want something with tobacco, something masculine, you like a fizzy sort of Coca-Cola opening, this is a great one, and I do recommend trying it out. If you haven't, it's really well done. Beautiful cold weather, easy to wear fragrance. I think this one would be the pick for fall winter, whereas I would probably go with something like Elysium for spring summer. But this is a real amazing fragrance. A lot of people have talked about it, so should be, I guess, no surprise to you that I also think it's a good fragrance. Now, the next one is from a house I actually thought I would never own a fragrance from. Not the one that people would think of from the house either, and that is Creed Viking. Now, I know I've talked about this one quite a few times. I like this one a lot. I know it gets a lot of hate in the community. I just love how fresh, spicy this one is. It's very fiery. There's a little bit of a mint note in there that clashes with that spice really nicely. Very high quality, very well blended. This is something I could easily see being a daily wear for the fall or winter. I mean, you can wear it at other times, but definitely works a little bit better in the colder weather. Absolutely stunning fragrance. I did pick this up at Costco for $160 US. So if you're looking for Creeds, Costco is actually a good place to check out online. They have Creeds in stock every once in a while, and usually they have very, very competitive prices. So this one I do enjoy. Like I said, it's gotten a lot of hate, which I don't think it really deserved. It was really compared a lot to Aventus, which I'm not a huge Aventus fan, so maybe that's a bit of a difference for me, or whatever the case may be. But I do like it, and I think if you're looking for that fresh, spicy kind of fragrance, it's definitely worth checking out. The next one is actually a clone, but it is an inspiration of a niche, and it's actually an inspiration of a Creed fragrance, and that's Aquatica by Genre Parfums. This is an inspiration of Arolfa. I love Arolfa. I think it's one of the best aquatic fragrances for men, but I get atrocious performance from it. Some people get really good performance, but I don't. This one has good performance, and the price is a lot better. So this one, it just has that really beautiful marine, a little bit salty, sweet, kind of reminds me of an ocean breeze in a lot of ways. Not in the same way that Aqua di Gio does, so it definitely does something completely different. very fresh. I've gotten good compliments with this one as well. Really do enjoy this one, and I think it's worth checking out from either Creed or from Genre Parfums. The next fragrance I have is actually a Mancera, and I really like Mancera as a brand because I think they have a lot of good fragrances if you can sort out the ones that you really like, and they can be gotten for a very good price on discounters. This one I got from fragrancebuy.ca, and I got it for like $80 or something, which I think is a good price. And this is the one I decided to go with as my first Mancera, and that is Windwood. This one has been compared by some people, including myself, to D-Squared Hewood Rocky Mountain, which I believe was discontinued, but this is very heavy in violet. Reminds me of like a fresh breeze. It's really nice actually. So it was one of the first floral heavy fragrances that I actually liked. The only real complaint I would have about this fragrance is that it does have a little bit of a powderiness in the dry down. And I'm not a huge powdery fan, but this is green, it's violet, dries down with a woody sort of violet vibe, which does sometimes have a bit of a powderiness. But I do like Mancera. I think they have a lot of great fragrances if you can find the ones that you like. And like I said, you can get them for a very, very reasonable price. The next house, which I believe is owned also by the same guy who does Mancera, and that's Montal. I have two fragrances from them. One is Spicy Oud, and I wish I could get more of the 50 mils because they can be gotten at an even more reasonable price, and I probably will never use 100 mil. This one I blind bought, and it's one that I actually didn't like the first time I wore it, and I had regret, decided to try it again, and I guess it macerated a little bit more, or the introduction of a little air added a lot more volume to the fragrance. I do actually like this one. I think it's nice. It's not amazing, but it is a nice, easy to wear fragrance for colder weather. The only thing I would say is it's not really oud-y, and it's not really spicy. So it's neither of the things that it says to be, and that's the main reason why I bought it. I thought it would be nice and spicy and woody. I don't really get that impression from it. It's a little bit floral. But it is a nice fragrance, and I do enjoy it, and I'll probably wear it a little bit more in the fall. But the next one I do have is, or should be no surprise to anyone, as one that I would buy from the house, and that's Oud Amazing. This one is, it's a little synthetic, but not overly in a bad way. I know Montal is very cheap, so you can't expect it to be super high ingredients, or super high quality ingredients, but this is a really nice fragrance, very fruity. It's sort of oud for somebody who's not really a fan of oud. This is not skanky. It's not challenging. I've actually gotten compliments with this one from people I never thought I would get a compliment from, but I have. It's a nice fragrance. It's really good, and I got this for, I think I got it for like $60 or something like that. Very cheap. So you can get these fragrances very, very cheap if you can find them. Anyways, really nicely done. Beast Mode Projector. Lasts a very long time. Fruity, a little bit woody, very easy to wear, not challenging at all. It's sort of the friendly oud fragrance if you want to think about it that way. The next one that I have, I really had to get something from the house, and so this is from Zoologist, which is a Canadian brand. I'm Canadian. I've also always appreciated the presentation of these bottles. I think they're really, really well done, and I got B. So I heard this was going to be gourmand, and that's one of the things that attracted me to it. I don't think it really is gourmand. It's more of like a honey floral fragrance, and I think it's good for fall or spring, better for those transition months. It is a little bit too thick, I think, for summer. I actually think it would be really good in fall, unless it's really cold where you are. But this is a nice, if you want something that's really waxy, it's not like a really sweet honey, and it has a little bit of floral to it. This is a good one. So this smells a lot more, or is designed to smell a lot like the sort of habitat of a bee. Flowery, beeswaxy, and really, really nice composition, really unique, definitely a Beast Mode performer as well. And the next one on the list, I did pick this one up actually full retail when it was first released. A lot of hype around this. This is from Steven from Redolescence's brand, and that is Navitus. And I actually was fortunate because it was very a lot of people were looking forward to it, so I ran a split on it, and so the amount that I actually paid was a pretty good price. So I did a split on this, and that's Absolutio. I do actually like this one, and actually I smelled it again today. I have it on my hand right now. And it's actually matured a little bit, and I find it a little bit more sweeter. The big thing about this is not quite what I was expecting, so I was hoping for something that's like a full gourmand fragrance. That's not really what you get. This is a fragrance that has some gourmand notes to it, and they do sort of interplay with the fragrance, but I find this to be more of a saffron and dry wood or driftwood fragrance than anything else. And so those are definitely the two most prominent notes to my nose that I get. And this is one that's been compared to Baccarat Rouge 540, where I do definitely get that comparison. Even on my initial video for this fragrance, I definitely get these sort of Baccarat Rouge 540 vibes, and I would definitely make that comparison as well. Although I don't think that it smells the same. I've compared them side by side, and I don't think they smell the same. But it does have some similarity to that fragrance, so it's not. You know, it's not the same thing, but it's got a little bit of a similarity with the DNA there. But it is nice, and I do like how this one has this sweetness that comes and goes. It has this really nice cherry in the opening that comes and goes, and I actually get this sort of nice red bubblegummy vibe and a little bit more toffee-likeness in the dry down. But overall, it is a nice fragrance, and if you get the chance to check it out, of course, I would recommend checking it out. Now next is one that I had sought after for quite some time, and I really like this one. I think it's my favorite from the house so far that I've tried, although I did try some others that I think I might have liked more, but I need to give them more of a chance to really know or to be sure about that. But that is Side Effect by Initio. This is such a good boozy tobacco fragrance, and I like my boozy tobacco fragrances quite a lot. It's sort of one of my favorite genres of fragrance, and this one is done really well. It's very sweet though, so some people describe this as a little bit feminine, and I can see why that is. And I mean, ultimately, yes, okay, I think it is actually a little bit feminine, but I really like it, and I love wearing it. But it's easy to pull off for a man, for a woman. It has this really nice rummy booziness, and in the opening reminds me a little bit of Orange Crush and spiced rum, actually, which is something I used to drink when I was younger. So really enjoy that one. Good boozy tobacco fragrance. If you like that genre, it is definitely worth checking out. The next one is from a house that I was actually at first heard from Steven's channel, from Redolessence, and this is from Svensk Parfum. And they're a Swedish brand, and you can actually buy them directly from the site, or you can buy them, I think, from Crystal Fragrances. And depending on the exchange rate, it sometimes is cheaper to buy it directly from the site. This one is called Saddle, and this one attracted me because it's a leather fragrance, and I wanted to try something leather. Now, the big surprise here is that I was expecting something more in-your-face leathery from people's descriptions of it. I don't think that it is. Leather is sort of a bit in the background, really. And the biggest note here, or the strongest thing that I get, is actually butterscotch, which is fairly unique to a fragrance. And I actually like how this one has something different than, raspberry. So there's a lot of raspberry leather fragrances, Tuscan leather. A lot of people copied that DNA. This does sort of that sweet leather thing, but it does it differently. And I can always appreciate that. This one performs really well. So I really enjoy this one. And next on the list was actually one I got from a subscriber. They gave me a nice partial of this. And this is a house that definitely isn't talked about a lot. It's okay fine. But this one is really, really good. So Smoked Oud is basically, or this one is OBO, I believe it's called. And it's Smoked Oud and bourbon, and it's aged in an oak barrel or something like that. But you can definitely get that really smoky, woody quality, which I actually like quite a bit. I think it's a really well done fragrance, good for fall, good for winter, and it is a little bit different. I mean, it reminds me in some ways of something like Oud Wood or even maybe Blackmail a little bit, but it doesn't smell like either one of those. But it's just sort of this a little bit spicy, a little bit smoky, woody vibe that I definitely get from those fragrances. So next on the list is actually one that was gifted to me from the owner of the company. Now, I did a full review on this with a sample that I got before I was gifted this, and he saw the review. I guess he liked it, decided to send me a full bottle, and that is Signature Pour Homme by Zaharoff. And I've called this one designer before, but I think technically it's niche. It comes across like a high-end designer fragrance for sure. And this is one of those ones I've often described as a really good signature fragrance for a gentleman, somebody in the 30 plus, definitely a little bit older. And it does have a little bit of a retro vibe. And I think that retro vibe is understandable because this is a recreation of a fragrance, I think from the 90s, I want to say. But what really is nice about it is this one dries down with such a beautiful oud. I don't really get it much in the opening. It's very fresh, but barbershop-y, and that's where it has a bit of a retro feel to it. But in the dry down, there's this really stunning oud vibe that this has, and I think the reason that this one doesn't come across fully retro or dated or whatever you want to call it is that at the time that this fragrance was originally released, oud was almost not used at all. So it was really on the cutting edge of using that, at least in the West. And so it's become a lot more popular these days. And so having it makes it still feel very modern. And it's just really, really well done. It's a classy fragrance, gentlemanly. Like I said, good for a signature scent, something you can wear most any time because it does have a little bit of freshness, but it also has that woodiness that certainly gives it the depth and makes it or helps it perform better in the fall and winter. Now next, I have my Nishane collection. I have three, all three of which were blind buys actually. And the first one was Fan Your Flames. And this was my introduction to the house. I like this one a lot. It's a boozy tobacco fragrance, so no surprise that I like it. It has coconut in it, which is a bit of a surprise. And the coconut that I do get just a tiny touch of it actually is smelling like coconut. It more adds to me a little bit of sweetness. But this is really beautifully well done. The smokiness comes across a little bit like it's embery and actually burning. And it has this really, really nice raw accord, very boozy, very good performer off my skin. I mean, 2-3 sprays at most, and this thing lasts forever. Really, really well done, really beautiful fragrance. Do like that one. My second purchase, and still a blind buy, Sultan Vetiver. So Vetiver was a note that was starting to interest me more, and I decided to try this one out. And I was not disappointed. Very high quality. I'm not going to talk about it too much, just because I still have to do a full review on this one, and I want to really sit with it and wear it more and give it all of my thoughts. But this has a lot of depth to it, a lot of complexity. And if you are a vetiver lover, this is definitely a good one to try out. Last but not least, from the house, Unu Tumam. Probably said that wrong. I know I mentioned this in the video I did on top 4 fragrances that would put hair on your chest. And I think the reason is this one's a little bit animalic. It also has oregano in it. Like with the other one, I haven't reviewed it yet, so I do want to do a full review on it. I'm not going to talk about it too much, but interesting, a little bit unique, a little bit animalic, and this one is dirt cheap if you can find it on a discounter, which you can, if it's one that you happen to like. 2 more fragrances in my collection, almost done. So Acqua di Parma, I do have a fragrance from them, and this is from the newer line. I forget what it's called, like Symbols of the Sun or something, and this is Yuzu. I did also like Sakura, but I did find it to be quite feminine, although it did smell pleasant. This one is based on Yuzu. The only thing I don't like about it is that it does have this nice bitter Yuzu in the opening, doesn't last long enough. So that is there. It's really nice, really bitter kind of yuzu in the opening, and it dries down to this sort of fluffy, almost marshmallowy quality. It does have florals in it, but nonetheless is a nice fragrance. I think it's very easy to wear. This is a great casual spring-summer fragrance. Good for casual wear. And the last one from my collection, one of the absolute champions, one of my favorite, and I believe it even won an olfactive award, and that's Rosé All Day. To me, this is the king of apple pie fragrances. It even has a note of apple crisp. Some people talk about Wajan, some people talk about amber narghile. This one's the best, in my opinion. It's just so good. I have Wajan, I love a Wajan, but this one for an actual apple pie smell is the best. It has this beautiful plum in it as well, which gives it a little bit of depth. There is rose. I don't get a lot of that. Probably the main reason I like it. If the rose was heavier, I would not like this fragrance because it would come off, I think, weird in the composition. very sweet, very thick, very luxurious. So obviously you want to wear this in the colder weather, but it is so good. Lasts long, great performance. It also has a little bit of patchouli in there, which does add a little bit of interest, a little bit of depth, gives it a little bit of a masculine touch, although you can easily wear this as a woman. It's definitely unisex. I think most gourmand fragrances end up being unisex. It's very hard to smell like something like apple pie or a sweet dessert and not be, or to be totally masculine. I don't think that's possible in my opinion. But who cares anyways, right? Wear whatever you love. And I love this one. Absolutely gorgeous. If you like gourmands, do yourself a favor, check this one out. Absolutely brilliant. So that is the end of my video series, of my video collection for niche. I may add a couple fragrances. One of the fragrances I'm looking to buy would be Whittian London. Beautiful raspberry leather. To me, it is the better version of Tuscan leather, if you want to call it that. But I will be purchasing fairly slow because I am a little bit more practical. I am going to be buying samples, or checking out samples to review, see what I really like, but I like to have stuff that I actually wear and use. I don't just collect for the sake of collecting. But that's my collection, guys. Let me know in a comment down below. Have you tried any of these fragrances? Do you like any of them? Or what's the top fragrance in your niche collection? Let me know. And as always, don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next video.